Good morning again, everybody. I believe we have our host here now. Shahina, you are unmuted. If you could just talk to us, please, and let us know you're here.
Hello, good morning, and can everyone hear me?
Yes, carry on. Everyone else is muted, but you are good to go.
Okay, thank you. So I want to thank all of you for joining us today. Good morning. We started with a bit of technical difficulties, but that's kind of our new platform. Before we get started, I wanted to introduce myself as your moderator today. I'm Shahina Khan, Regional President for Minnesota and Western Wisconsin region. I'm part of BMO's personal and business banking business. In my role, a little about what I do, I lead the retail segment for overall sales strategy, operating strategy, along with customer. All right, just wanted to make sure everyone can hear me. So I'm so excited to be at this event today. I know we would have all loved to be here in person, but really our new platform is virtual platform, and I'm so excited that we are still able to be here today. I'm actually new to the Twin Cities, and I shouldn't say so new, only a year and a half. I've actually relocated to the Twin Cities, so I couldn't be more excited to be part of this event where I get to meet local businesswomen, owners, professionals, and learn from all of you today as well. So our plan for today, we'll learn from peers, we'll learn from fellow business owners, and we'll share and relate successes, setbacks, specifically highlighting some of the challenges and experiences that we've all had during COVID-19. So without any further delay, let me introduce you to our remarkable panel of a group of 4 woman-owned business owners, professionals who represent various business sectors and industries. So without any further delay, let me introduce you to our first panelist, Sama Ali Burcham from Portkey SEO Solutions.
Hi, everyone.
Hello. So I just realized my video was not on. So Sama, let me go ahead and officially introduce you. Sama is a local business owner here in the Twin Cities, where she has started a digital marketing agency a little over 4 years ago. Portkey SEO.
60 women from all different businesses.
Her agency specializes in customs and web development, a search engine optimization, SEO. Sama has a technical background, but has always been creative at heart. So diving into the world of SEO and web development has helped her merge the two together. She absolutely loves what she does and loves the team of strong and motivated women she has built over the last 4 years. Sama and her team work with small businesses to help increase their visibility on Google search, which actually helps them to increase sales for clients. Sama absolutely loves supporting other business owners, women just like her, not as clients, but as fellow entrepreneurs as well. The team at Portkey, I think, is so powerful to just read about, consists of an all-female staff, and Sama is very proud of that. As an immigrant Muslim from Pakistani heritage and a woman of color in the US, Sama is proud of that and wants to set an example for other women that look like her. Sama has a bachelor's degree in economics. She lives in Oakdale, Minnesota with her husband, Brendan, and her toddler, Timur. So welcome, Sama, and we're so happy to have you join us today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Thank you. Thank you. Welcome. Our next panelist today that we have joining us today is Dr. Afira Hassan, owner of Inside Vision Care. Dr. Hassan founded Inside Vision Care to provide convenient and comprehensive eye care. She was actually born and raised in Houston. She obtained her bachelor's degree in nutrition from the University of Texas at Austin, and then went on to complete her doctorate of optometry at the University of Houston. She has been working in the Twin Cities for the past 10 years. She sees patients for various services such as adult and pediatric eye examinations, contact lens fittings, glaucoma evaluations, LASIK, cataract assessment and management, diabetic screening, and all other ocular conditions. She thoroughly enjoys giving back to the community and spends much time volunteering. She has served on many boards, including school organizations. She helps with vision screenings and community eye examinations for the uninsured, just remarkable. Dr. Hassan resides in Edina with her husband, Dr. Jafar Hassan, where she lives with her 2 children. Her husband, Dr. Jafar, is actually a pediatric oncologist in Edina as well. She likes to travel. She's an avid tennis player and enjoys working out. Welcome, Dr. Hassan.
Dr. Hassan does not appear to be on the list yet, so please carry on.
Okay, technical difficulties. It's our new platform that we're all getting used to in our new state, which we'll talk a lot about that today as well. So our third panelist today is Lori Paul, owner of Mindful Legal Group LLC. Lori is actually an attorney here in the Twin Cities and a certified health coach via the Institute of Integrated Nutrition. She was actually born in rural town in Southwest Minnesota and then moved to the Twin Cities in her 20s. Lori pursued a law degree and has since been practicing law within real estate planning, software technology industries, as well as corporate law within the banking and health sectors. In addition, after dealing with some unexpected chronic pain, Lori started her own blog, poweruptohealth.com, to document her health journey and help others suffering from similar health issues that she had gone through. She currently lives in Eden Prairie in Minnesota with her 2 daughters, Ella and Britton. Outside of work, she loves outdoor activity, traveling, reading, writing, and last but not least, spending most of her time with family. Welcome, Lori. So glad to have you today.
Thank you, Shaheen. It's wonderful to be here.
Thank you. And our final panelist today is Shay Sadifer, owner of the new MPLS. Shay Sadifer has been involved in health and wellness over the past 10 years. She went on to earn certifications as a group fitness instructor and a lifestyle coach and diabetic prevention. Shay started teaching throughout the Twin Cities on a donation base and started building her clientele list. Has coached over 150 women who are pre-diabetic and overweight. She recently has added a new LLC to her business, focusing on wellness called Let Go, Let Flow. She now has numerous fitness classes, meal prep courses, and a farmer's market intact. Humbled and grateful, Shay welcomes you to the new MPLS. Welcome, Shay. We're so happy to have you.
Thank you. Happy Thursday. Glad to be here.
Happy Thursday. Today, technical difficulties, and we're all getting used to this new platform. So without any further ado, I will jump into. Can you all see me okay?
Yes, your
Yes.
video is fine.
Oh, okay. Thank you all for your patience. So without any further ado, let's jump into the program. I know you all want to hear from our professionals who have experienced so much of the current circumstances many of us are experiencing. So to start, I would say women entrepreneurs have an incredible potential to spur economic growth. 50 years ago, only 2.5 million businesses in the US were actually women-owned. Today, there's over 12.9 million businesses that are women-owned. Female entrepreneurs look really different today than they have in the past, which actually comes with and presents their own unique sets of challenges. So today we're going to dig into a few aspects of running your own business from the view of these professionals that we have here today. So can't wait to hear from all of you. So I'll go into my first question. Sama, starting with you. in your career so far, what has been the most significant milestone for you?
I think for me, my most significant milestone was having my own team and actually delegating a lot of my responsibilities to other people to carry on with my project. I feel like it was the hardest thing for me to let go of all the control of what I was doing, but it has been the best decision that I've made for my company in terms of growth and also just meeting more and more business owners and other entrepreneurs in the cities. I wouldn't have had time to do that if I was doing all the work. So I'm really proud of the team that I've built over time.
Absolutely, absolutely. I know when I read some of your accomplishments, it's just phenomenal to have a all-woman staff for the last 4 years. And I think we can all relate to that letting go part, right? When we go on to bigger roles. So if I can go a little further with you, Sema, what's one accomplishment you would say you're super proud of?
I think one I'm super proud of is customer retention. With the type of marketing that we do, since I started my business, I've kept those 5 clients that I started this business as a side business to today, 4.5 years later. So I really feel like it's the customer service point of it that I'm really proud of, that people want to stay with us because they know, number one, that what we do helps their business grow online. And number two, they just like the customer service, so they won't go anywhere else. And that's kind of the model I've built my business on, is retention, customer retention.
Absolutely. And I think that's so impactful, right? When we think about client satisfaction. So thank you for sharing that. So Shay, if I can transition over to you, just reviewing some of your accomplishments, just phenomenal. And I know just looking at some of the offerings you have, I feel health and wellness is so important to many of us today. So can you share the most significant milestone for you and your business?
Yes. So, there's been so much change in 2020 and growth too. So I don't feel that I don't feel it was a setback. I feel it was a learning lesson. So the biggest accomplishment obviously was the transition from in person to online, but actually, having my whole clientele come with me on this journey and being able to transition to online. So, and being comfortable with that, because it's a different, it's different than what we're all used to. I'm on the computer 90% of the time, and to keep people engaged to health and wellness via computer is a new level of entrepreneurship, I'll have to say. So I'm blessed to be able to, connect with them, from a mental and health standpoint, but also maintain the whole infrastructure of my business.
Absolutely. I know I've tried to do some of the health and wellness virtually as well. I can tell you it needs a bit more motivation on my end. So I appreciate just you sharing that. And I know we'll spend some more time around how we've all adapted and transitioned during the time when we think about our business platform. But if I can engage you as well with this, Lori, if you can go back, just given your background, right? When I think of legal background, it's definitely a well-established profession, and it's not something that's new to many of us. So if you can go back and do something differently, what would that be?
And something differently from?
Just business-wise, is there anything you would like to do differently? One thing you could have picked.
Ooh, that's a great question. I think, if we look at, ultimately from my health journey that I've been on, I think the one thing I'd do differently is I wouldn't wait, right?
Yeah.
Start now, do something now, especially, with COVID. I think, I think for one, I did the same thing. I think I kind of, jumped in bed and threw my head under the covers for about 2 months because I'm like, oh my gosh, what do you do? But I think, ultimately by just, that one step forward, and I think that's from my perspective, to do something different, is to just start now. Don't wait, and that's something that the hesitation, I think, is what, ultimately is impactful for people. And if you hesitate too long, you tend not to do it. And that's going to get you stuck regardless of what situation you're in.
Absolutely. I think great model, right? Like we just have to give ourselves that push to just go run with it. So really thank you for sharing that perception with all of us. So I think it's no secret, right, when everyone has been affected with COVID-19 in one way or another, as we progress into the second half of 2020, it's helpful to really look at how business owners like yourselves have pivoted in this situation while keeping in mind changes for the future. And I know we've kind of touched on that a little. I know here at BMO, adaptability has become a key word for us. We think of changes we've made around with the situation with COVID. So if I can engage you back, Shay, starting with you, in response to COVID-19, I know you've touched on this a little, but what have you done to stay engaged with your customers?
My biggest thing is not just moving online, but actually calling or texting them to check on them. Because obviously during this time, a lot of people are isolated by themselves. So, they'll be good with coming to class and, doing the wellness, and all of a sudden they'll disappear. So my biggest thing that, was to do something I always kind of did, but this was even more to just check on people, see how they're doing. And sometimes the smallest little phone call or a quick text, all of a sudden, brightens their day, because a lot of people are not being checked on. And I feel like that's what's, helped me grow as a business owner.
Absolutely. And I think it's important, right, for business owners like yourself to really just check in on clientele regardless of the industry you're in. So great perspective. If I can engage you back in Sama, how are you adapting your business model in response to COVID-19?
So right when lockdown hit, a lot of businesses actually started looking online more because they didn't have to push their marketing to the end of the year. They could have just focused on it right then and there. But after a while of extensions of lockdown, business started to slow down. So at that point, I was thinking, what can I create that I can sell pretty much anywhere in the world to any entrepreneur anywhere in the world that's going to help them with their online marketing right now, where they may not have that excess cash flow to hire a marketing firm to do it for them. I believe knowledge is power. And what I ended up doing was creating an online downloadable training at a very, very, very small dollar value that can be bought online, downloaded online, and referred back to by any entrepreneur, small business owner who wants to get set up the right way online. And in a way, I felt like this was empowering to other business owners, something that I could provide a value that could help them during this time, and kind of do the things themselves, but also have the knowledge to talk about it in the future if they wanted to hire a marketing firm. So yeah, I pivoted by creating an online course that I've been marketing pretty much anywhere in the world because it's applicable everywhere.
Absolutely. And I think just having that virtual platform from the get-go gave you more power to continue to do that. So if I can go a little further with you, what have you found most challenging during this time?
As a small business owner in the Twin Cities, I'm very heavily involved in a lot of networking events and meeting other entrepreneurs and business owners, and I love to do that. And all the in-person events obviously have gone virtual. And I understand the value in it being virtual. However, I have seen that developing that level of trust or meeting a client or meeting a referral partner face to face, I feel like develops that trust a little bit faster than you can online. So that I feel has just been, one thing that I've been, I guess, struggling with a little bit because is establishing that trust with your client or a referral partner.
Absolutely. I think, right, that's one that's challenging when we're all thinking of just ways that that trust and buy-ins there. And hopefully we can all just learn from each other throughout this process on how we can continue to gain trust from one another. Lori, if I can transition back to you, what advice would you give to other business owners continuing to keep lessons learned from COVID-19 in mind?
I think probably the best advice and the actual advice that I received myself is that, as a business owner, put yourself in the shoes of your customers, of your clients. and what would they want, right? One of the things I did to transition through, this time was I actually sat down and wrote handwritten cards, right? And just sent them out. And I just received notes from people saying, thank you. Right? That was so nice just to receive something old school, right? It's not an email, it's not a video, right? It was truly just a letter. And I'd say from the advice of I could give any business owner is, what would your customers want? What would your clients want? Put yourself in their shoes and, is it something, that, yeah, they love a phone call, right? I think Shay had said that, right? Give them a call, send them a text, things like that kind of outside of your normal, say, business, right? You don't have to always be business, be personal. Let them know you're human also, because that's exactly what they want. And ultimately, in turn, I think that will help build the trust, that they want to see in you as well.
Absolutely. So thinking of this new adoption and the new business model and thinking we've all had to adapt to, what positive changes will you take moving forward with you?
I think probably the biggest positive change, right, is that people can adapt. Everyone is so afraid of change, and I, for one, am the same way, right? But I think if, the positive change is that we all found we can adapt, and sometimes easily and sometimes not so easily. But look at sometimes it's just a change of mindset. And, I think I've offered myself a little bit more grace and a little bit more compassion as I'm working through clients and how do I adapt to now a virtual system, and now meeting people online versus in person. And so I would say from a positive perspective, just giving myself a little grace and compassion is probably the biggest positive impact from my world.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think we all do that. We forget ourselves when we think of running a big business, a team, and it's always about the customers and our team. But I would say that's absolutely true. We have to give compassion to ourselves as well. So great perspective. I think this is a great segue when we think about my next question, what comes to mind, right? When I think of work-life balance, it's something we all hear about and we all talk about. But we can all admit this is one that's a tricky one. It's easier said than done, especially as we transition to working from home as a result of COVID-19. Given the demands of running your own business and thinking of how to have that work-life balance, and most importantly, keeping your sanity. Lori, if I can just continue to stay with you on this, how do you balance
that? So one of the things I've learned, and especially through even my health coaching, is one of the things I do is I do a lot of meditation. And, whether that's 5 minutes of just being quiet or listening to a guided one. My kids laugh at me, and I will honestly say that probably most neighbors do too. But one of the things that I try to be balanced, right, is, take 5 minutes and, even if it's walk outside, and I literally go walk outside in the grass on my bare feet, to get some energy from the earth. But they always say, right, if you can't walk outside or you can't walk in the grass, go hug a tree. And that's literally true, right? Trees have so much energy, and it really just helps you kind of be grounded and bring you back to reality a little bit. And that's truly one of the things that I love from a work-life balance, right? Take a break, even if, every 2 hours, every hour, just literally get up and do something else. And even if it's silly, do a dance party in the kitchen, right? Go grab your children and, say, hey, let's go run and get some ice cream, right? Just something that's going to bring you completely out of your work life. That's going to put you back into like, okay, let's smile. Let's do something fun today and bring you back into that, even if it's for 5 minutes.
Absolutely. I think just that breather is super important and a great reminder for all of us when we think about mental health during this time and the limited connection or actual face-to-face connection we have with other people during this time. So, Shay, transitioning over to you, and just given the various demands of your business, and mental health is a big part of your business when I think of wellness and all the different you offer. So can you share with us a little on how you are balancing work-life balance?
So yes, I'm a mother first of these two right here. Where are they?
Oh,
right there. There they are. They're teenagers. So they are in 9th and 10th grade. So they are in their rooms right now in class. So, that's the biggest thing, is making sure that they're okay first and foremost. This has been, they've been home. And so I am mommy, entrepreneur, cook, you name it. So, it's my thing is about scheduling. I have a tight schedule that I run. I make sure that we're on the same page and be consistent for that. So that's what helps me keep balance. I go for daily walks. So I walk every morning 2 to 4 miles, and I lift weights. So that's what keeps my life balanced, and just routine. So that's what works for our household. And I think I've implemented it into the business to help people through their wellness journey. And it's, the biggest thing I also say is make your bed up every day, because that's where your thoughts are, right? So if you can make up your bed and you clear your thoughts, you can get your day started well.
Absolutely. Super important when you think of planning and looking ahead. And I can only imagine for many of us, being a parent as well, with the new demands with virtual schooling and everything else that comes on the plate, chef, etc. Just props to all of you out there that are balancing this. I know it's a tricky one and it's not a easy one. So glad we can share some insights even further when we think of our breakout rooms as well. Sama, if I can transition over to you around just the same topic of keeping sanity, work-life balance, but furthermore, how have you or your employees evolved your ways of working to adjust to COVID-19?
So yeah, as soon as lockdown hit, we saw it coming. I had recently flown back from Southeast Asia, and things were already locking down there, and I came back here and it wasn't so. So I kind of expected it's going to happen. So actually, it was a week before lockdown that we all decided that we're all going to go virtual. We got all our systems, working, connected, that we knew how to stay connected on projects the whole time. I have some software that I use that's just so nice to manage teams. So that was my savior during this entire time. So everyone knew what each member was working on and how the projects were progressing. So that really made life much easier. Another, really helpful thing part of lockdown was that my son still had daycare, and I could continue to work because I have a 2-year-old and there is no way I can do any work when he is around. Either my laptop's going to be chucked off the table, or it's just going to be mom, mommy, mom the whole time. So that was really, really nice that, I have he's in an in-home daycare, and that continued the whole time. So he had his routine, I had my routine. And something that's been really great for me growing my business is I've set a very strict rule. When I leave the office, I do not work after that time. So say I leave at 4:30, I don't even take my laptop home. Maybe I do, maybe I leave it in the car, but it does not enter my home. That time is then devoted to my son, my family, whatever I need to do then. And then I also strictly don't work on weekends anymore. When I started my business, I worked on it 24/7. I started as a side business, worked 10-hour days, then worked at this till 2 in the morning. But after becoming a mom, that's just not something I want to sacrifice. I feel like, I don't see my son all day. And the few hours before bedtime that I do get is just going to be his, mine, and my husband's.
Absolutely. I just hearing you about that cutoff, I know it's a super important takeaway for me to just know, okay, it's a certain time and we should all log off at this point. And one I think that many of us struggle with doing. So thank you for sharing those insights. When I think of running a business, I think managing finances is crucial and a big part of running a business. It directly affects whether or not you're able to achieve your personal goals. When you think of balancing and effectively running a business, I know here at the bank, we understand that having the right tools and the people in your corner to help you can make all the difference in enabling you to meet your long-term financial goals. So coming back to you, Lori, what financial management best practices are important to you personally and professionally, and if you can share a little around why.
Yeah, I think probably the most important for me is budget, right? I mean, I can have the greatest ideas in the world and want the best systems, but ultimately you got to stay within a budget, and sometimes you have to be willing to take a leap and bring a little faith in. And I think even from working with, say, a banker, such as BMO, right? I mean, what a great way to come in and say, okay, I may need some assistance, from a business perspective, but I need to stay within this budget. And really be able to make then some decisions from there. And I think from that's one thing that I've learned throughout the 15 years that I've had my law practice, right, is that a budget is fabulous, and yes, you have to stay within, but sometimes you also have to take a little leap of faith to make sure that you're going to invest. And I think that's the biggest thing is, right, it's not spending, it's investing in you, investing in your business, and have the parameters, have the boundaries, have a budget. But investing in you ultimately is going to be the best thing that you can ever do.
Absolutely. I think it's powerful takeaway of budgeting and what it means for you and your business. So Shay, if I can engage you a bit as well, just when I think of how you started your business, it's just so remarkable, right? Around donation base and building your own clientele from there on. What financial advice would you give to new owners that are just starting off, or tools you leverage to help you?
Trisha, I started with $0. So 8 years ago. And how I started off is because I'm a bodybuilder. So that's how I had a following from there. And then when I moved in, leaving corporate America and starting this, there wasn't a huge plan at the beginning. I just felt like people are going to love my passion, love what I do, and they're going to come. And that did happen. But in the end, I did have to have a plan. And the biggest thing is to give back into the community, talk to investors, sponsorships, work with nonprofits, and obviously find a good bank that, can help offset those costs that you can put back into your business. So, I don't suggest necessarily start with $0, but, we all have our own journey and our own beginning of how we can do it. But definitely now, as I've grown from that donation base, that's how I'm still able to offer that from partnering with different organizations in the Twin Cities that allows me to keep that cost down so people have fitness and wellness affordable to them.
Absolutely. I just feel like here at the bank, we see many clients that are starting up like you. So it's just super remarkable to hear how you have progressed from $0 to building your business and the demands of your business today. And we all kind of need that leap of faith when we think of, right, leaving a corporate job to become a small business owner. So kudos to you and all you ladies out here. Sama, if I can engage you as well, what advice would you give to people who are looking to start their own business, given you've started yours just about 4 years ago?
I think when it comes to, just the financial part of it, there's two things that I continue to follow. One is cash flow is everything for me. It's not about how much money you make, it's about how much money you keep. And that is one principle that I run my business by, because I feel like going into my second principle that I follow is it's the money that you keep that's going to continue to make you money. So being able to differentiate between investments and liabilities in your business, like Lori said, you can have all these ideas in the world, but, to really break that down and see which one's actually going to pay for itself, or, what's going to make you money versus what's not going to make you money. Are you in the stage of your business right now where you can invest in 5 different projects or one? So it's really analyzing and trying to see, the pros and cons of your choices that you make with that money. And that really determines, how long your business will last, how it will grow. But yeah, it's not about the money you make, it's about the money you keep. So having that in mind is, I think, really going to be a good step forward to growth.
Absolutely. I'm just thinking of all the great advice from all you ladies and the insights that you've all have shared with such different various backgrounds around where you started and where you are today. Is just super and powerful to hear this knowledge from you all. I know a few takeaways I'm taking back with me when I think of just this discussion is really around budgeting, right? How do we all continue to pivot during this time and think ahead? But most importantly, I think taking out some time for yourself, that balance, work life balance, and especially such driven women. And I know we've all kind of been in that boat around determination and having to work just equally or more hard than some of our fellow colleagues that may not have the struggles as women is important to just kind of keep yourself in mind as well. So some great insights. I know I'm not sure if we have some time for a Q&A from the audience. Maybe we can open it up for 1 or 2 questions. So for the audience, if you can type in your questions, and then for the ladies, I can just read out the questions and ask you all, whoever feels is best, to just kind of jump in and take the lead. So let me check if we have any questions out there. So our first question is, what is most important from your partner organization for you as business owners? So any one of you like to take the lead on that?
Can you hear me?
Yes, Shay, over to you.
Could you say the last part? It kind of cut out. I'm sorry.
What is most important from your partner organization for you as business owners?
Okay.
Or how can partner organization, banks, and others best support women business owners?
Okay. So being, would you like me to answer that? Okay, sorry. Okay, so number one, being a Black-owned woman business in Minnesota in health and wellness is very rare. When I show up to spaces, 9 times out of 10, before COVID, I'd be the only woman of color. And that's fine. I have no problems with that. So the support that I've received is actually right there in the community. So other women that are primarily white women, they have supported in A, coming to my events, B, sharing my events via social media, and C, things like this, connecting me to B speakers. And then from there, you can connect, build your relationships that people will then invest back into your company. And I found that to be, those 3 things are huge. So, getting out there in those uncomfortable, environments that you wouldn't normally be in, so that you can meet people that aren't in your normal circle. You're never going to grow if you just stay in the bubble that you're used to. You need to do things like this, right? Like where you don't know anyone, you're not familiar with this platform. And that's how people are going to help you grow. You have to get out of that. And I think a lot of us through this year have transitioned, realizing in best practices by getting outside that bubble. I never thought I'd be running a full time, and I know I'm small, but I feel so grand online. And I never would have thought this. I have nothing to do with IT. My undergrad is in marketing, and then now I'm in health and wellness. So, just really, get outside that box, everyone, and make those connections with organizations, banks, and people that you wouldn't normally. I always say it's not your friends always, it's your network that's going to take you to the next level.
Absolutely. And I think relatable to so many people. When I think of just being new somewhere, I know I can relate to city myself.
Right.
And how important it is to have that network. Sama, anything additional you would like to chime in with on this question?
With the partnerships, I would say
Best support you or other businesses for partnerships.
so I guess I can speak from my experience in the networking world and connecting with other business owners specifically, and why would another business owner go out of their way to refer my business, and why would I do the same? I feel a lot of it has to do with, again, building connections, building relationships, just how you would with a potential customer or client, or how you would reach out on your social media to people reaching out to you, where now it's just so much easier to connect with people. The same way you'd make those connections with your partners, whether that's a banker that you're going to. BMO is great with that. I feel like the attention that you get is just so great. And then there's programs that can be adjustable to your needs, making those relationships with a CPA that you met networking, making a relationship with with someone who does business law. There are so many other partnerships that you can create, again, which, you know, there's two things that are important in that. One is building that relationship, communicating, and the second thing is building that trust. And I feel that trust is really what helps you move forward, especially if, you know, in a business like mine, that's business to business. Connecting with other business owners is key for me. So having that toolkit of other business owners that I can personally refer to other people as well is pretty valuable.
Absolutely. Super powerful and just remarkable. I know we're right at time. Lori, I'm not sure if you have any additional insights you would like to add.
I think, you know, from just quickly, I would say the biggest thing would be is to collaborate. That's one thing that I've, you know, especially COVID has really taught me, is to work with other business owners, and, you know, especially women business owners, and maybe doing something completely different, right? I mean, I'm an attorney and I do a lot of heavy work, a lot of analysis every single day. And so to work with somebody in the health and wellness or somebody in marketing, and, you know, to provide a benefit for both of our clients, I found has been such a huge value for my business as well as theirs.
Absolutely. So I have so many questions I see that are popping up on the chat here. So I want to give everyone the opportunity to go into the breakout rooms and get some of their questions answered. But before we do so, I just truly want to thank this remarkable panel. I really and thank our audience for joining as well. So I know personally for me, that network is super important, and I'm humbled to be able to moderate this event with this remarkable and such diverse perspective today, and really want to thank our audience for tuning in. I would ask you all to keep the questions going when we go into our network and breakout rooms, and hope you all have one takeaway with you. Something you can walk away with, something you can potentially apply to your own business or your ways of thinking, or when we think about adaptability for the future. But most importantly, maybe a new contact and someone in your network that you can reach out to as well. So please follow the link you were sent in your confirmation email to your specific breakout room. Hope you all enjoy the breakout session, and truly want to thank our wonderful woman panelists today, along with our audience, for joining. And I'll see you all in the breakout rooms. Thank you.